decided to have a 2-day layover in one of the most expensive cities in the world. And I'm 1 day in. I want to see how far, like around $100 can get me here in Singapore. I'm not sure where we're gonna be sleeping. And so, let me give you a quick room tour. We check. Oh, nice and clean. And I have to tell you, there is a reason they call it the most expensive one. So today, I want to take you on a tour through the whole city, through the different areas. We're starting off on the iconic Marina Bay sands. Let's see how far, let's see if we can stay under $100. Let's say it like that. But before we jump into Singapore, a quick word from today's video sponsor, Level 8. No matter where I am, rolling through Singapore, through Thailand, maybe Kuala Lumpur, most recently in Italy, I have been on the road with the Level 8 suitcases. And the reason I've been partnering up with them for almost a year now is because the quality is absolutely amazing. So whoever knows me for the longest time, I've been the carry-on guy, like super minimalist, barely any clothing on me, just like buying a new wardrobe here and there, just because of how convenient it is. And when I got my hands on their carry-on, the quality is absolutely unbelievable. So this is their aluminum Gibraltar suitcase, and compared to other, let's say, upscale luxury suitcase brands, they're also fairly affordable. And with my code Danny15, you can get another extra 15% off. And most recently, I've been actually fairly excited about that. I have upgraded to a checked luggage from Level 8. So this is their more affordable range, and I have to say, I had never more stuff. Traveling has never been easier. So on their website, they have very timeless, super high quality pieces, also more convenient or almost innovative luggage pieces with like laptop sleeves and things like that. And as of right now, it's the only chance, so Level 8 told me they only do it once a year. They're giving 20% off the whole website for the Black Friday month, so I'll make sure to leave the link down below so you can get 20% off. On another note, if you follow their Instagram page, I see very often they do giveaways. Sometimes they give away a piece of luggage, sometimes they give away flights. So there's always something going on their page, so make sure to check that out as well. And let's head back to today's adventure. And so we're gonna start the $100 adventure right now here in the morning. We are right next to, I would say, one of the most amazing buildings in the world, the Park Royal Pickering Hotel. So the reason I'm here is because I'm staying here, not there. So we're still fairly close in the city center, and while looking at accommodation, obviously the biggest expense, I have to tell you, it's starting off to a hard start. I checked into the hostel yesterday. First night I paid $40. The second night it is the weekend. I'm paying $52 for my hotel bed in this hostel, a hostel called Kin. And I have to say, it's a pretty nice place. It's a modern new hostel. The cheapest one I have seen for tonight was $35. So I thought, like, hey, let's splurge on the hotel bed. $1 went to tonight's accommodation. And so let me give you a quick room tour. We checked in. Oh, nice and clean though, and this is not too bad. What is that? Room tour finished. Decent hostel. It's still just kind of like a little capsule bed, but if it's a new place, you can sit down, can do a little bit of work. I like it. But speaking of the area where we are, so quite shocking. I've never spent that much on a hostel back in the day, you know, like whatever, traveling through Asia, never stayed too often at hostels, but it's kind of crazy. It's like Manhattan prices a little bit, but the location is pretty good. And this is the Park Royal Hotel. I think generally it's a world famous building because of how they integrated nature, these different trees into the hotel. It's kind of like on 3 different levels. I've just got the bird up and it looks absolutely amazing. So now that we got the accommodation out of the way, it's 10 a.m., 11, not gonna be, you know, intermittent fasting too long for today. I'm really hungry and I'm close to Chinatown. I think this is a place where we might get a decent snack. We'll see how far $100 will get us today. So let's go Chinatown. So first of all, the best thing that is free in Singapore is there's sidewalks absolutely everywhere. The city is put together extremely well. It's a charm to just hit the streets. Sometimes it's just a nice neighborhood with older buildings. Most of the time it's extremely futuristic structures like this one. So it's time to get some calories in. So we are in the heart of Chinatown. This is called the People's Park. It's definitely one of the oldest areas, let's say older areas. And let's see what type of food we can get here. So you see a lot of old timers are hitting the road still. Good to see. Can I get a 2 spinach bun? Nice. 2, yeah. So guys, look at that. We got a bunch of different buns. Behind Chinatown, I walked to this building. It's called Potato Hat. Never been here before. I've been actually many times in Singapore before, and you know, I've never tried to really see how far I can stretch my money, which we're doing today. And so I got one of my favorites when I've been in Singapore for the very first time. The chicken spinach bun for $1 Singapore dollar and 20 cents. And I have to say, it just tastes absolutely amazing. So we're just gonna have a little snack with a nice Coke Zero, and then we're gonna explore a little bit. And as always, if there is a famous structure, there will be somebody to get that shot, believe me. So it looks like this building has been around since 1939, and if we cross over, we're seeing the super epic residential building. So kind of like if you stand here, you get a bit of an angle. This is the Oasia Hotel, and this, it's incredible. So Singapore has so many different award-winning buildings, so just going for a walk is a charm. And it's starting to rain right now, so let's go down here. Singapore strikes. It's raining like crazy right now, and I think I found a bit of a solution. The working capital. Let's see. So a bit of a coffee. I'm curious, how much are we going to be paying for a coffee here? So actually a very nice like working cafe, perfect tables. Okay, guys, let's go over and order real quick. Can you please get a coffee white? Well, that's certainly interesting. They don't accept cash here. So $6 Singapore dollars in total for the coffee. Guys, Singapore's quality from start to finish. This is one of the best coffees today. No. And so, a nice $5 coffee later and a good working session. It's cleared up for the most part. So, typical tropical weather, rains like crazy for an hour or two, and now we're back into action. So guys, I think that was the second $5 or even $6, 6.50 Singapore dollar, a little bit over $5 US coffee in my life. I think before I had one in the US somewhere. Typically, you know, I am in countries that just offer so much more for their value. So honestly, you know, these days I let go of tracking like the small expenses, but still, like sometimes you're like $6 for a coffee, like really? But honestly, I think you pay for the ambience, you pay for a bit of a co-working, and after 2 hours I felt like it's time to go. And I think we're gonna be taking the subway, go to a bit of a different area. I think we're already like, what are we, like 60 something dollars in to this day. I absolutely love this area. The architecture of Singapore is truly something else. And there's really so much, like these old buildings, look how they restored them, have like nice cafes on the ground, French cuisine and wine bar. So yeah, really having style out here. Let's go see where this next subway is, so we can pop off ourselves into another area. Let's keep moving, let's go to a different part of town. That's actually the first time I'm taking the bus here right now in Singapore. So tapped my card. I got it for 10 Singapore dollars in the airport. It's the second time I'm using it, so I'll probably have to top it up. We'll see how much this ride is in particular. But yeah, the buses, they're kind of like double level, so it's quite an experience. Almost like a tour bus, if you will. A little bit like reminds me of the buses in London. But yeah, just driving through Singapore, nice and air conditioned. I love it. Luckily right now the weather is actually fairly pleasant, so we're going to the area that is called Bugis. Okay guys, dropped off what they call Bugis Street here, so it's supposed to be like a market. And you know, I'm gonna be visiting family. After 1 year I've been gone, sometimes stuck somewhere in the world, at other times just a bit far. Definitely will be visiting more often in the future. But basically what the point is, I want to buy some little trinkets, wondering what the prices are. So looked up local markets, Bugis came up. I'm also getting hungry, so let's see. So walking through it, got some clothing, what is it? iPhone cases, all kinds of stuff. Okay. Thank you. Just picked up a few quick trinkets, some nice Singapore cookies, and some mochi for the family. So getting quite hungry, and luckily all over Singapore there is the local food court. So let's see what they might be having for snacks right now. So that is the thing, is like ultra modern city, yet still they maintain very, very traditional food courts. Can I have a chicken rice? 450? Yes. So we're gonna do the big one, looks like 450. Okay guys, got our hands on some lunch, and I have to say, as simple as this food looks, it's absolutely amazing. Some boneless chicken. So 450 Singapore dollars for the big portion. I would say interesting advertisement, grow your masculinity. Okay guys, and a couple of stops later we made it into the Orchard district, so a little bit further into, let's say, Singapore. It's known as the fashion street, the fashion district, and maybe you see behind me, this is one of the huge malls here. But basically the idea is all the way down the road, which I think I'm gonna take it for a bit of a walk. It's a pretty nice and interesting area. I think a couple of years ago it was like, let's say, the flagship area. I think. Alrighty guys, look at that. There is an old gentleman selling Singapore ice cream. Cookies and cream? Do you have this one? Thank you. 10? Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye. So let's say that right here will be dessert. So 150 Singapore dollar. Actually pretty good. So 150 Singapore dollar for this nice little ice cream. I have to say, mixed feelings, obviously. Very, very older gentleman, still working, you know.
About beautiful juggling, but I won't be juggling these items when I'm standing on solid ground, rather when
Seriously guys, the messaging is quite there. Celebrate femininity. Seriously guys, such a pleasure walking around in Singapore. So this is the Orchard area. I think I've been here last time in 2017 when I first time came to Singapore. So kind of wanted to reminisce it a little bit. So for sunset we came out to the Marina Bay Sands area. So walked a little bit through the downtown, really good vibe. This is Saturday today. It's bright and beautiful sunset. And you know, the gardens by the bay, truly one of those things that you cannot compare really to anything else. So during sunset, especially after sunset, sometimes there have some shows going on, let's say like that. Hopefully today is one of these days, so let's head out. So overlooking the skyline of the downtown, I would say the basic gist of this video is Singapore definitely is not cheap. But it's not one of those cities like maybe, let's say, a Central European capital where it's absolutely like, let's say, no options to get around. Here, transportation is affordable. There's a lot of hawker centers, like basically food courts, a lot of street food types of things. So guys, coming into the Marina Bay Sands building, I think mostly part of the hotel. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, we're not going to be staying here tonight. I think the room started around like $500. Something like that. And you know, actually on the top there's an observatorium. I think it goes for like 30, 40, maybe 50 bucks. You get a nice view. I've been up there. The pool, super busy. Maybe I have some old shots of when I stayed here, I think in 2018 or something like that. Amazing hotel. Here's one of the breakfast places actually. But you know, the big thing about Singapore is there's so much cool stuff to do for free. And I would say one of the biggest ones is like they could easily charge $50 and up for where we're going right now. So guys, came out on the other side. We're going to the gardens by the bay. Just take a peek before sunset, enjoy it, take it in a little bit, then probably walk back. See you tomorrow morning. Alrighty friends, starting out the morning here in Singapore. You know, back in the day I always used to like free trial myself into local gyms. These days, you know, staying in a lot of hotels where usually there's a gym, staying longer at one place, so usually kind of like finding my way, maybe memberships, day passes, whatever may be. But a thing that I used to do back in the day is always looking up where there is, let's say, a calisthenics park or whatever, maybe like when I was in New York, things like that, traveling more like, you know, expensive places where it's either free trial or like 30 bucks for a day pass, you know. But here I have to say, I walked by yesterday and it's right in front of the Park Royal, so just doing some pull-ups, some push-downs, and overall the past like 48 hours here really is kind of like living the simple life, just walking around, really, because this is also one of the places where I started to travel back in the day, kind of like remembering where you come from. You know, I grew up in an immigrant family. I always, let's say, my goals back in the day was always like, hey, live below your means, whatever, make $1,000, live on 400, 500, make 2,000, live on 500, 600, make 5, 10, you know, live on as little as you can, don't increase your cost too much. And this is also like, it's just remembering the premises right now. And I think to everybody who's watching, you know, if you see my videos in the past couple of years, there's always like a lot of nice experiences, and most of it is by building, let's say, the travel brand and the niche, working with different places, hotels, tours, whatever may be, products. In the past year, it has been amazing. I'm super grateful for all the opportunities, for all how life has changed. But I think it's very important to remember where you come from every once in a while, to humble yourself a little bit, and just don't feel bad by having to like live, let's say, a simple life. As long as you know where you're working towards and you're effectively doing it, I think it's much better than just to spend money and be like, oh, hello, like, you know, dude. Maybe some of you can relate. When you start moving up, it may be satisfying to kind of like spend your money and like buy whatever things, experiences. But I think what is even more fulfilling is kind of like knowing that you conserve your resources. Maybe you invest them in yourself, into whatever may be, or give back to family, things like that. So that's why in mornings like that, where I'm like, hey, I could be paying like probably 20-day pass at this impact thing, or I can raw nicely do some pull-ups, some push-down, some push-ups. We're just gonna get the job done for right now. No matter what, we're getting it done 3 to 4 times a week. No bodybuilder, no fitness YouTuber, but we're getting it done 3 to 4 times a week, no matter what. And we're doing it here for free. And let's wrap this up. Obviously spending the night, that got me over $100. Still, I think the most affordable hostel bed here was around 30 bucks, but the 50 bucks one in the back, it's quite comfortable. So still, you know, not fully doing the Marcus Aurelius living on the least means you can. But look, it's time to start up again the podcast, the mindset, talk about it a little bit more, but let's get back into action. Seriously, what a magnificent building. I have to say, usually I'm not a big fan of these type of parks. It's free entrance, super cool. Right now it's clouding up a little bit. Okay guys, as promised, we're back at the Marina Bay Sands. You know, today's video, I really just wanted to take you a bit on the OG Got a World to See life, show you that in any city you are, it's possible to, let's say, experience it in different ways. Singapore really makes it easy. It's one of those cities where there are so many things to do for free. You here by any chance? My name is Dan, and for the past 5 years I've been documenting here the journey of building a life of freedom around the world. Singapore is actually one of those places where I first traveled to back in the day, where all of that was just like a slight little idea. There's a back catalog of almost 4 years of videos here, and you can also join me on Instagram if you want to stay up to date where I am right now. It's getting really hot in Singapore. I'm actually leaving today. I'll share exactly a little bit more where. Probably will film a video about that as well. You too? Got a world to see. Big one.